You know exactly when you want it. You know exactly what it tastes like. You know what it looks like. You know what it smells like. Before you really blow up, and you get success, you literally have it in the palm of your hand line. You come here to make friends. I'm going to give you respect. Who I am. I have enough respect for myself. I'm not wanting to be for you. And I don't need you. Baby, come close. And I'm telling you right now, because I care about you. I'm telling you right now because I've been there. I've done that. You've been there for 3 years and you want to quit. You've been doing it for 5 years and you don't look like you did. You put all your money in. You put all your time in. People looking at you like 5 years you invested all. You put your money in to quit now. And the problem with something else is you won't do life for you. This is my time. This is my moment. Tomorrow ain't gonna fit serious tomorrow. What does your dream look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? If you want to happen, we just put up and make it happen. If you want to happen, rise and rise.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. If you wanted to make it, if you wanted to happen, get up and rise and grind. Welcome to those of you jumping on the grind this morning. It's Tuesday. And you know what? We want to say great morning to everybody that's dialing in, this morning to our Blog Talk Radio platform, to those of you that are jumping on Facebook. Great morning. I'm standing right here by my side, my BFF, Mr. Nathan McCray. Standing right by my side.
Let's do a test. I want to see if Pam, y'all can still hear Pam.
Can you hear me? Testing. 1, 2, 3. I know we were working on some things this morning. Well, my husband was. I just watch. Can y'all hear me?
Y'all hear Pam?
Can y'all hear me? Everybody out there in Facebook land. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Active participation.
I'm gonna need you to actually talk into that thing.
You want me to talk?
I need you to put that closer to your mouth. All right, there you go.
All right, I can do this. Okay, so I can move this closer, just like this.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get my IG going.
I'm not gonna even dog you out this morning either.
You know? No,
I'm not gonna do it.
No, I've accomplished a lot this morning.
I ain't dogging you about what you've accomplished.
Give me some praise this morning. I know. I'm still working on next. Like, listen, can we get some active participation in the morning?
Let me tell you. No, it's not that.
No,
that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh no,
no.
Okay.
You said give me some praise. I'm like, look. Let me tell you what we're gonna talk about this morning.
I've accomplished a lot in 2 hours. Okay. I got up. What are we gonna talk about? I got up, y'all. I've been on calls, right? All right, leadership calls and things of that nature. I've been on, and I got up and I boxed this morning. Didn't I tell y'all I was gonna box yesterday? I said it. Commitment. That's the word of the day, right? Commitment. And so I said, you know what? I have to remember the things that I committed to. And you know what? Getting this summertime fine body is one of them. So I had to go back and reflect, all right? Because commitment means long after the moment is gone, you don't make no excuses and you keep on going, right? So what we talking about this morning, babes?
So here's what we're talking about. I'm ready to post this too. So this will give you guys a good idea. Excuse me. This will give you guys a good idea of how I think.
We don't think.
I don't want to be closed-minded, but I want you guys to understand something about me because I can only account for me. All right. Pam has to account ultimately for herself, right? So she has to create for herself, right? She's got to create what feels good for her.
Right.
But for me, don't cheat off my paper. Pam is bad. I know, and I'm telling you right now, Pam used to be cheating in school.
I did not. Nicole,
no, real talk.
Nicole,
Pam, no, I don't want to hear that.
My BFF
Pam, every time I write something, if I'm writing something,
cheat.
y'all know what Pam doing. She looking at my paper. So here's my post that I did get a chance to post, and I'm gonna post here in a minute, right? Pam was a cheater.
I was not a cheater.
Cheating off other people's paper.
I couldn't cheat. Catherine ain't played no games.
Of candy.
All right, she was known in the educational system.
The true rewards for your success will not be the money and accolades received, but instead the freedom and legacy created.
Hallelujah. I agree with that 1,000%.
That's going to be your reward. So some of y'all are working for peanuts, but you ultimately trying to get gold. And when you're working for peanuts and you're trying to get gold, it don't work. It doesn't work.
Can you repeat that quote one more time? Because I just went live on IG.
Okay, so y'all don't steal my quote. Everything I put out is pretty much me. Don't steal my quote, okay? But I'm gonna tell you this is what I'm getting ready to post. All right. So the quote is the true rewards.
I'm not gonna post it.
The true rewards for your success will not be the money and accolades received, but instead the freedom and legacy created. So what does that really mean? This show is about freedom. We're going to talk about freedom today. And what does freedom really mean to you? We've done this before in the past, right? We talked about freedom. And everybody has their own system of value, right?
Right.
So if your system of value is money and accolades, then you'll get money and accolades, right? If your system of value is freedom and legacy, then you'll get the money, the accolades, and the freedom and the legacy. So it goes back to 4 cases of money sitting on the table. And I use money because people relate more to money, right? I'm going to tell you guys something in a minute. 4 cases of money sitting on the table. They tell you to take what you want, but you only take 2. Why? Because you're only going for 2, right? Your mindset is I only want 2 when you should really want 4. You should want everything that God has for you.
Absolutely.
Right?
You don't leave nothing on the table.
Right. So it's like so it's like saying I can walk 1,500 miles or I can fly 1,500 miles. I'd rather fly 1,500 miles and get where I'm going to go and accomplish everything I want to accomplish, right? But here's the thing about freedom and legacy. Sometimes the freedom and the legacy gets blinded by the money and the accolades. Say that again. Sometimes the freedom and the legacy gets blinded by the money and the accolades. I know people that have no money and they're miserable. I know people that have tons of money and they're miserable. I know people that are loved and adored by the world and by their friends and family, and they're miserable. And there's some flip-flops to that you can keep throwing in there. But I know some people that don't have a dime and they're happy.
Right.
Why? Why is that? Why? Let me pull that back a little bit, about to fall off the table.
This.
Yeah. So why? Why are they happy? Why are they happy and they don't have anything? Some of y'all know the answer to that, right? It's because they're free.
Yeah, free.
Freedom, to me, freedom is everything.
Absolutely.
Me being able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, the way I want to do it, is really, that's the essence of it for me. Now, I'm not saying that has to be your system of value. That's my system of value. And if in my mind, I can create, and if you think about you in your mind, if you can think about this in your mind, if you can create a level of freedom in your mind that says 2 + 2 truly in your mind may equal 5, you're not concerned about the outside and what they think, right? Because you know that in the grand scheme of things, for you to get where you want to be, to feel the way you want to feel, to think the way you want to think, to be able to give out where you want to give out, the energy, the atmosphere that you want to create, then it has to be what you want it to be in your world, right? So that world also has to shake hands and translate to the outside world, right? In
Right.
such a way that the outside world looks at your life and says, that guy's free. That girl's free, right? How do you get free? Is freedom a physical thing, or is freedom a mental thing? That's the question today. Is freedom a physical thing, or is freedom a mental thing, or is it both? Because for me, Pam will tell you, I don't like people telling me what to do. I did that for 4 years straight in the military, and some in high school because I was a military JROTC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you telling me what to do. When you tell me what to do, I do the opposite. When you tell me I have to, let me put it that way. That's different,
Right. There's
right?
a difference.
Because I can take coaching. I can
Right.
take coaching all day long. Tell me what I need to do. All right, if I'm not doing it, but don't never tell me what I have to do.
Right.
Right? Because my freedom is valuable. When you tell me that I have to do something, then I feel like you're ripping my freedom away from me, my freedom of choice. And the big man don't do that.
That's right.
Right?
You're right.
So when we look at what freedom really, really is, it's not you going out vigilante style and saying, do whatever you want to do, hurting everybody in the world and saying, you know what, F them. It's just me. You see what I'm saying? Freedom is a mindset.
It is.
So the freedom that you create has to bless others. The freedom that you create has to enable others to create.
Absolutely.
And it's about what you create. It's about what you're creating and how you're creating it. Even more so, how you're creating it. Because when you're creating it in such a system, in such a way that others can duplicate it,
Mm-hmm.
that others can feel it, others can buy into it, others can lock arms with you and say, I want to be a part of what you're doing. That, man, I love that.
But
That's
it's
free.
a choice.
It's a choice.
Right.
Yes.
And that's good. And I agree 1000% with everything you just said. And, I truly believe that freedom starts in the mind. You got to be free mentally before it can ever manifest physically. So I think it's composed of both, the mental and the physical, as far as freedom. But you have to be free in the mind before anything can manifest, on the exterior. Because anything that doesn't allow you to create, anything that goes against you being able to have that choice, that saying, that buy-in, whatever it is, literally it's bondage. At the end of the day, it's just like you said, if God gives you the power of choice, then any situation, anything else that goes against that, it's not freedom. And I believe that the only way to create that physical freedom is to first and foremost change the mind, right? When we work on our minds and we understand the power of being free, also realizing that there's always a price to pay for freedom. But you're right, the freedom is you can create. You wake up and you're excited about life, right? You wake up and you're excited about the things that you're doing, and really and truly, you're right. It's not something that you just mean, you just put out there like to heck with the world, but you're able to live the way that you desire to live, and you're working for the goals that you desire to have.
So let's start right there because I like what you're saying. All right, but I want everybody to, you hear what Pam says, right? Pam is saying that freedom is you being able to wake up and be happy about waking up, being able to pop out of bed and boom, do what it is that you want to do the way you want to do it. I'm not there yet, right? Because I don't, right at this moment in my, I don't wake up every morning happy as snip, snap. You know what I'm saying? I'll be the transparent one. You know what I'm saying? I don't wake up, I don't wake up just like, whoo, let's go. Because I think I'm still grinding to really solidify some things.
Right.
And I think we have to pay attention to, I think we really, really, really have to pay attention. I'm gonna go deep now, guys. I think we really, really have to pay attention to how we feel, right? When you pay attention to how you feel, and then not just pay attention to it, then you react to the way you feel. If I don't feel good when I wake up in the morning, there's something wrong.
Right.
There either my pillow wasn't turned right, some that my neck ain't right, something happened, or maybe I woke up, I didn't get enough sleep. There's something. But the key to figuring it out is to figure it out. The key is to okay, why did I wake up this way?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why did I wake up? Because for me, it could be something as simple as my pillow wasn't turned right. Because we got them weird pillows, right? And I bought them, so it's my fault. But they're good when you sleep on them the right way.
Right, you sleep on them bad boys the wrong way.
Yeah, they got the whole indentation for your head and everything that's supposed to keep your shoulders
off
flat, and keep all that your head where it's supposed to be.
You slide in the wrong crevice.
Slide in the wrong direction and sleep there for a period of time. Yeah, you're gonna wake up feeling some kind of way, right? So you can side, back, front, whatever you want to sleep on is good as long as you stay in that crevice.
Right.
And I believe that's a good analogy when it comes to life. I think we have to find that sweet spot in life that gives us the freedom that we desire. And when we find it, we have to figure out how to duplicate it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of people that they found it initially, and then all of a sudden they lost it. They lost it, and they're on that search to find that spot again. So to what you were saying, Pam, when you wake up, it's one thing for people to get on here and say, oh shoot, we wake up and everything, the sun is shining bright every day, and birds are flying through our window in and out, because we leave it open, and we got flowers growing. We could tell you guys that, okay? But the reality is that's not the truth, right? This is the realest show ever, right? And the things we say to you guys are transparent so that you guys know, right? That we struggle with the same things that you guys struggle with, right? I could put on this facade for y'all to say, man, I'm free as I can be, do whatever. But reality is we still grinding, right? We're grinding to a point now to where we're in sacrifice mode. We're in legacy mode, right? I believe in order to create legacy, you have to go through this sacrifice mode. You have to be in that vein. Mm-hmm. You have to find, you're going to have those nights where you're not right directly in the sweet spot. And it's going to feel like you kind of got ran over by a Mack truck sometime, right? Because you're so intently shooting for the moon, right? Because it takes a lot to get there. So I believe that once you get to a certain point, right? I believe, and I'm not saying that you have to grind and be uncomfortable until the day that you die, because I don't believe in that, okay? I believe that you grind and you find your sweet spot, right? You find your sweet spot. I'm being transparent with you guys and telling you I have not found mine yet, because there are things that I have not done yet that I know I should be doing.
Absolutely.
Right?
I feel the same way.
Yeah. So that's the freedom aspect of it. You're not going to feel free until you're creating the life the things that create the life, right? Nobody's going to wake up and be free just because they woke up and say, now I'm free. You can say it all day long, but when they come in to repossess your car, right, that don't feel like you're free.
Mm-mm.
When they put your house in foreclosure, that don't feel like freedom,
right?
When you lose your job, that definitely don't feel like freedom.
Mm-mm.
So we can wake up and say whatever we want. We say that words have power. Words have power to keep you still, and words have power to move you forward, right? Words also have power to move you backwards. So a lot of us have gotten into that vernacular, Pam, to where we say things that just aren't true, right? Because we want people to perceive something a different way, right? So if it's not true freedom, if you're not there, then I'll be the first to tell you, guys, I'm not there yet.
Right.
I'm not truly free, right? There's some liberties that I'm going to take to make sure that people aren't trampling on my freedom, right? I'm going to make sure that you're not getting ready to use Nate McCray, okay? I'm past that phase in my life. I'm half a century into this thing, and this second half of my life is going to be beautiful,
Absolutely.
right? So I'm working on some things. I'm getting my freedom intact. So when I wake up in the morning, like this morning, I knew that I'm going to be straight up with y'all. And can I be transparent? I can't ask y'all to do that. I'm always transparent with y'all. I woke up this morning and I had some things on my mind, and I was getting ready to put some things in place, and I was getting ready to send some stuff out to get some stuff done so that I can get to another level. And I'm sitting at my desk, and Pam said something about the grind. And I was like, shoot, I forgot we were even doing the grind this morning.
And that's not like him.
It's not. That's what I'm saying. It's normally me, right? Pam is saying, I forgot. I was right. We got to do the show this morning, right? You know. So I didn't. This morning, my mind was like, man, there's some things I got to put in place because God put some things, you know, on my heart last night. Really, I got beat up. You know, my dreams beat me up, right? So I'm like, why have I not done this, this, and this? And I can't blame anybody else. It's all on me. So I'm sitting at my desk getting ready to get busy. Get busy. And then Pam walked up, talking about the grind. I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to do the grind today. You know, as much as I love talking to y'all, there's something else that was on my mind that was, you know, that kind of trumped the grind today. But here we are.
Right.
Talking about freedom to you beautiful people.
That's good. You know, and sometimes a lot of times we don't realize that in the midst of the grind, you can't forget about the because you could be grinding for something, but there's other things that God is telling you to do. Mm-hmm. And in the midst of the grind, you know, you forget about those things. And I know, and I definitely there too. You know, I definitely have not done a lot of things that God has told me to do. And you're right. We are the only ones that have the power to, you know, take that moment to realize and recognize that we are the ones that have to create. You know, if we don't slow down, because we have the freedom to create, right? But sometimes you could allow
and the ability.
Yeah, and the ability.
I like what you just said. Back up with the very first thing you said. You got to slow down. What?
You got to slow down in order to. I think I said slow down in order to move forward.
No, you said you got to slow down in order to create.
Oh yes,
and that's what we said on the previous show. We said you got to slow down. Sometimes you have to slow down,
right,
in order to move fast.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And so, and that's so true. Where you got to take the time to really zone in on that stuff. And I know that definitely I've been guilty of that because God's been telling me to do some things for a minute. And you know, again, He gives us that choice to do it or not to do it. And at the end of the day, there's always going to be a price that you have to pay when you don't listen, right, and do the things that you should or shouldn't be doing. You know, but it's just a matter of really saying that, you know what, enough is enough. You know, it's crazy because, you know, you woke up like that and I woke up with the word, like I woke up with the word commitment, you know, on my mind. And I shared it, you know, earlier on a call that we do every morning. And literally, you know, that's one of the things that God had laid on my heart. You know, commitment means for real that if you said you're going to do something, then stop allowing excuses, because anything that you don't move forward in, right, and begin to create, you now have allowed the excuses to take over. And so I had to realize that, you know what, I have the power to create. I have the power to become. I have the power to do the things that I said that I wanted to do, and even to fulfill the purpose that he's told me to do, you know, and even, you know, on a personal note, because you know, you got to fulfill the personal things that God is telling you to do before you can ever, you know, even begin to, you know, walk, you know, do the things that God is telling you to do together, right? Which Nate and I, we have a purpose together, but we also have things that God is telling us individually to do. And, you know, and together, you know, we encourage one another. But it's so true to where you can get kind of lost in the sauce almost, you know, right, in the midst of the grind. And it kind of goes back to, you know, even what we talked about the other day, where, you know, we got to learn to do better, to live in the moment and grind for the future, you know, right, so that now we are able to really slow down in order to create, you know. Smell
the roses.
Yes. Yeah.
Slow down and smell the roses.
Because otherwise that's not freedom.
Yeah. You got to figure it out. Yeah. You know, some of you out there may be going through the stage in your life to where, you know, you should be further ahead. Right. You know that there's things that you should be doing, but you don't. And what happens is the devil is very good. The enemy, I'm going to say the enemy is very good at using you against you. Right. Very good at you against you.
Right.
And then when it can't use you against you, then it uses others against you.
Right.
So what happens historically to most people is that they tend not to focus intently enough on the thing that they need to do, right? So that very thing that you know that you need to do, I don't care what it is, to get, and it typically starts with you. I'm not talking about, you know, I'm not talking about I got to get up earlier to make lunch for the kids.
Right.
No, I'm talking about what's going to make you a better person, because when you become a better person, you serve in a higher capacity.
Mm-hmm.
When you become a better person, you serve in a higher spirit of excellence. And
Absolutely.
it's about who you are becoming, right? That matters. So when you're waking up every day and that thing is burning in the front of your mind, like, I know I got to do this, but then you keep getting these phone calls, right? You get a phone call. You sit down at your desk to do something, and you start doing it. And how many of you have ever just started getting phone calls after phone calls after phone calls? You get text messages. Next thing you know, you're like a dog with a ball, right? You can't focus because you see all of this stuff happening around you. So you don't do it. You start focusing on other things, and you become the jack of all trades, but the master of none.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't done anything, put anything in place for you, but you've solved everybody else's problem. And when the sun goes down on your day, the sun goes down on your productivity for that day. And it feels like the world is against you because you become that selfless person. And everybody thinks that's the most glorious thing, just to be selfless all the time. I'm just going to spend my whole self, giving it everything physically and mentally to everybody else. And
I'm tired.
Yeah, and you're tired, and your body is hurting.
Out of what you need.
Yeah.
Instead of your overflow.
Instead of your overflow. And that's good, man. And that's good.
Man,
your overflow is what, you know, and man, since we're talking about overflow, you know, we always talk about, you know, ministry and things of that nature. And we talk about the tithe and things of that nature. And people have this thing, and I'm just going to say it because this is the realest show ever. People have this thing to where they feel that, you know, God needs their money. Like, well, I got to give God my tithes. God don't need your money. He owns it. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, right? It's his. He created everything. It's his, right? So what am I saying? What I'm saying to you is what Pam just said. Your storehouse is your house. It's your bank account. Give out of your overflow. Make sure that your stuff is taken care of first. Of course, God bless you to take care of it, right? God gave you the money, right? He said, you worked, here's the money, pay your bills. But why, more often than not, people say, well, I'm going to go and give God his first. He don't need, he already gave it to you. So now the key is he gave it to you for you to take care of your stuff, right? So now you're taking care of it, right? And if you're taking care of it, you're putting some money in savings. Now your overflow comes into play. Now you can give out of that. So why is it that God gives us and then we turn around and give it, speaking the language that people understand? He blesses us with the ability to survive and thrive. And we turn around and give it back to him, and then turn right around. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. We turn around and give it and give it to someone else, and then turn around and ask him for it again. Right? So you're not in your overflow at that point. Now I get it. Sometimes you're going to sacrifice for people, right? And I'm using this analogy, guys, so that you guys get it, because this is an extreme analogy, and this is a sore spot for a lot of people, right? So what Pam and I do, and we're blessed every day, right? We give out of our overflow, right? We have dreams for us, our kids, and for everybody that we want to accomplish, that we said we're going to do. So we make sure that stuff is done first, because God blessed us with the ability to be able to do that, right? And then we bless people, right? We don't necessarily think that we have to tithe our money to a building. That's just not us, right? If God leads us to give an offering to a building, then we do. We don't feel obligated to do it. But we bless people, which is the true church. God's people are the true church. So you bless the person, cuts out the middleman. Okay, so that's the way we think in this house. And guys, we've been, ever since we really solidified that thinking, we've been tested and blessed every single day. And I'm not trying to take anything from going to a church building. I'm not trying to attack pastors or any of that, because y'all get real silent when I start talking about pastors and stuff, right? I'm not trying to attack pastors. I don't got nothing against pastors. I'm for God's people. For God's people. And God, if I have a direct conduit to God himself, then I have a direct conduit to God's people. I don't need to feel that I'm doing what God told me to do to bring it to here so it can be distributed to there. I can give it myself if that's what God is leading me to do. So I'm talking about overflow, guys, because when overflow works in every aspect of your life, right? It works in you overflowing mentally. That means you're feeding yourself personal development. You're putting good things in. So you're getting an overflow so you can give things back out, right? You can give them out to people mentally. And you're feeding yourself physically, right? Which means you got your body in a good place, which means now you're physical, you're fit enough to actually do God's work. You're actually fit enough to actually do the things that you want to do. Hang out with your kids, not be winded going up and down the stairs, not walk to the mailbox and feel like you're about to pass out, right? None of that. You're taking care of God's temple, right? And I'm talking to somebody. You're taking care of the temple that the Holy Spirit resides in. Get real spiritual on y'all today, right? You're taking care of the temple first, right? Now, once you take care of the temple, if you know how to take care of the temple, you can show somebody else how to take care of the temple. Overflow, overflow, right? Financial overflow, physical overflow, right? Mental overflow.
Right.
You can't tell somebody else to do anything that you have not done.
Right.
I can't tell you guys how to create if I don't create. I can't. That's why this show came into play. Giving real insight needed daily. This show was intended from day one to be unscripted, right? If it ain't in, it ain't coming out.
That's right.
Ain't no cue cards, ain't no teleprompters. So what's the grind for me is to make sure that I put stuff in, right? I press myself, make sure the stuff is going in so that stuff can come out. If ain't nothing going in, nothing's going to come out.
That's true.
Have you ever been standing somewhere, you get so nervous? You get so nervous to a point where you can't even talk. You feel like getting ready to pee on yourself. You feel like you get ready to, your knees get real weak. That's because you're not comfortable. You're not, it's not even, I'm not going to call that, I'm not going to call that, what do you call it, Pam? Butterflies. I'm not going to call that humility. I'm telling you right now, there's butterflies that you get, right? That you're going to get. We call that piece of it is, I'm humble because I'm speaking before you guys right now. I'm giving you guys something that God gave me. I'm confident in that, but I'm humble because it's not me speaking. I allow God to speak through me, right? And I know you guys understand this concept, but what happens is when you know that you're working in the power and the ferocity that God gave you, then what does that mean? That means you're not afraid. Right? There is no such thing as a spirit of fear. You'll stop saying stuff like, well, I'm shy.
Right.
You stop saying stuff like, well, I get scared when I got to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You stop. You just get into that moment when you say, well, there's something bigger than me that's speaking through me. And you can put yourself at ease because he's giving it to you because you put it in.
Absolutely. That's true. And when we realize that, fear, the only fears that we have are the fears that we create. We allow to take control because God hasn't given us a spirit of fear. He's given us one of power, love, and a sound mind. So when we understand that, and I had to get to the point of understanding that because I used to allow fear to stop me. But just like you talked about that, even when it comes time to creating and just doing and moving forward in things that we need to move forward in, and you talk about the enemy. Right, the enemy. Those are the excuses. Those are the things that we allow, the distractions that we allow to come in and take over. And what came to mind was that quote. There is no what is it? If there's no enemy within,
inside,
right? The enemy outside can do us no harm. Right. So we allow these things to take us off our game, to not be able to move forward in creating, to having the freedom that we desire and deserve to have. Right. And I think that's a part of it too. You got to realize that you deserve it. Right. Because when you realize that you deserve it, then you'll move forward in making sure that you put the things necessary and you're taking the necessary actions every single day in order to now create the freedom that you desire to have in your life. That's what it's really, that's what it really is all about. And that's going to be the very thing that keeps you going. That's going to be the very thing that drives you. That's going to be the very thing that now moves you to action. Realizing that if there is no action, nothing is going to manifest. Faith without works is dead. So we could believe all day long, but if we don't now get up and fight for the things, understanding that there's going to be some sacrifice, you have to sacrifice. But yet, you sacrifice in order to now get to the gains, because for the sacrifice that is made, there will be a reward. But we have to get up every day and keep going and not focus on the challenges, the issues, because really and truly the mindset that you create is going to be the mindset that you manifest.
Right.
And so, when we understand that, then we'll get up and, just fight for the things that we know that we absolutely deserve,
And that's
freedom.
the thing. People understand it. You say when we understand it, we get up and we fight. And that's the
maybe want it bad enough.
Well, I mean, no, I understand what you're saying, because when you know, you go.
Right.
When you know you're supposed to go. Right.
Absolutely.
We always say when you know better, you do better, but that's not always the case. Right. So the traction that the action that really creates the traction, guys, is the actually knowing it and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the simple thing. Pam talks about it all the time, flipping the switch. Man, it's
just like this.
It's one of the hardest things for people to do, but it's one of the easiest things also.
Right.
And people make it hard. And that shift, people make it hard because it's not about what they think. It's about what others will think.
Right.
So it's as simple as this. And here's how you put your cash, as they say, not casting your pearls among swine, but here's how you create a fertile environment to create it, right? Because nobody's going to create it for you. You have to create it for yourself, right? Because nobody knows what makes you grow but you, right? So the way you create a fertile environment to grow in is you do the simple things. You make a list of the things that you want to accomplish today. I challenge you guys. Make a list of the things that you want to accomplish today. Right now on the West Coast is 9:50. On the East Coast, it's what, 1:50? 12:50 on the East Coast. Central is 11:50. So you still got half your day at the most extreme, right? Still got half your day left, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
So I challenge you guys to write down the things that you want to do and get accomplished today, right? Make them SMART goals, make them things that you know you can do today. And don't write down, take over the world. You ain't taking over the world in a day, okay? So write down the small things that you need to do that's going to create a good foundation for you to actually create fertile ground. And then here's the traction. Do them. Don't allow anybody to sidetrack you. I'm not talking about a phone call, a text message. I'm not talking about an email. Don't allow somebody to pop up at your house. Guys, when I get in my zone, you can text me, call me, pop up at my house, ain't answering the door, right? I'm trying to get something accomplished, right? And you can get mad about that, right? Or you can understand that I'm being intentional.
Intentional.
And probably
yesterday, right?
Yeah, if you calling and texting me all the time, maybe you need to be intentional, right? Because you got too much time to be talking to me on the phone and calling me and eating up my time, right? Call me, answer. Those of you you call me, I'm gonna hey, what's up? Let's get this thing going. Let's be intentional. What you got? No, I ain't getting ready to get on the phone with you and just chew the fat. I ain't made it yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not. And I intentionally, if that pisses you off, then you're not the fertile ground. I can't use you to fertilize my soil, right? So I challenge you guys today. Write it down and do it. And then at the top, put no excuses. No excuses. Oh, well, such and such called me. I got sidetracked. I know that. The fact is, do you know it? Right? So when you know better, you do better.
Absolutely.
And these are the actions, guys, that create the traction. And when you start moving, you miraculously leave behind the people that are not. But you're staying still because you want to bring the people with you that aren't ready to move. You can't create a level of freedom like that. It's impossible. I've tried. Trust me. I sit around and wait on people, wait, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, no, I can't keep waiting on you. Either you're ready to move and do this thing the way it's supposed to be done, or you're not. There's too many people out there that want freedom and you're playing with it. So what is it that you want to do right now? That thing that you've always talked about doing. What are the steps that you need to do it? Write them down and get started, right? I hear people all the time say, well, I can't get started yet because of this, and this. Okay, but what can you get started with? Right? You want to be a world-renowned singer, right? But you keep saying I can't get started because I don't have a producer, I don't have recording studio. I don't have all of these things. You're focusing on the things that you don't have, but not focusing on the things that you do have. You still have the voice, right? You got a whole social media audience that you can sing to. I've seen people do it before, right? It was the whole reason that I started to grind, right? I knew what God was giving me every day. God was pouring into me and still pours into me every morning and every evening. You think I got the philosophies, fam, that I talk about even in my book, right? How I Escaped Corporate America. That book is small. It's about 30 some odd, maybe 40 pages, but it's power packed simply because it gives different strategies in it of what I did. I kept the book around me all the time because I can tell you guys, God will wait until you get on the toilet to give you an idea. And if you don't have something to write it down with or something to put it in with, then guess what? It comes and then it goes. So it's the concept of always being ready to receive. If you're always ready to receive, that means you always got something there. These days, it's your phone. For me, it was to carry a little book around with me, right? But these days, you can pull up your notepad, jot it down real quick, right? You know, you may spend 10, 15 minutes. Your legs may go numb in the bathroom, but stay there. Shake them a little bit. God giving to you. He has no respect of person and no respect of time. So when God is giving to you, you got to be open to receive, because I promise you, when you walk out of the bathroom, you'll forget it.
Right. Absolutely.
Because God is a right now God. So that means you have to take the things that you're being given and apply them to your life right then, because he's got a whole entire world full of the church people that he's giving things every single day. Don't miss your opportunity to get free.
Absolutely.
And create.
That's good.
And that's I believe that's the key. I mean, it's the little things that you got to do. It's the little things that you got to do that are in front of you. The little small adjustments. We talked about it on last week's show, Pam. We talked about it's easier to make small adjustments as opposed to making one swooping adjustment in your life. Some of you are saying, well, man, I'm too far behind the curve. It's never too late. You're never too far behind the curve. If it took you 30 years to get where you are, and to get to the level of not having success that you have now, then it's going to be patient with yourself. That song say, please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet, right? So make sure that you're patient with yourself as you're asking everybody else to be patient with you, and start doing the little things, right? And you start going. We talked about this the other day, Pam. We're talking about, we were working out yesterday, right? And we're talking about how the body works, how the body actually, you have a layer of fat over your muscles, and your muscles are trying to work their way through. They're pounding through the layers of fat that's there, right? But it took us 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years to get those layers of fat, but yet we want them to be gone in 7 days.
Right.
We want them to just disappear and all be gone. You want the body of the gods in 7 days. And you're like, why didn't it happen?
And we all like that. Right? Give me that body in 7 days. But it don't work like that, okay? No matter how much we want it. Oh, you're right. It took time to get yourself in that position. So it's going to take time to get yourself out of it. And that's all about that process, for real. You know, on the way to that freedom, you know, and creating the freedom that we want to create, it's the journey that makes all the difference, right? It's not the destination. It's the journey that makes all the difference. So therefore, when we understand that, and we now embrace the journey and the process, because it's through the process that we really understand who we are. It's through the process that we really find our greatness. It's through the process that we understand for real that we got everything that we need on the inside of us to now manifest and to sprout our wings, you know, like that butterfly, and to get up and to fly every day, and to now for real have the freedom that each and every one of us deserve. The
process doesn't have to be, right? We gotta jump off. This process doesn't have to be, 10 years in a day. No. Right? It doesn't have to be that long. You determine that. The process. Right. So it's an amazing thing, guys.
Things that we do, right? Yes, we created, like a lot of them. We can't fault nobody for the situation that we ended up. We created that, but it was a part of our process. It's something we had to go through, right? Obviously, but we had to learn at some point, okay, that enough is enough, basically, right?
Nike had the best slogan in the world. They have the best slogan.
They sure do.
Just do it, man.
Just do it.
And that's the hardest part to get people to realize and understand. You know, start talking about it. Just do it and go through the process, and you determine how long that process is going to be.
Absolutely.
Right? Close this out, fam.
All right. So everybody, I just want to say again, thank you for tuning into The Grind. To all of our listeners, we appreciate you for always dialing in. If you ever want to dial into the Blog Talk Radio website, then absolutely you can call in. You can also go back and watch these shows, www.blogtalkradio.com/The Grind 101. And again, we'll see you all back on Friday for another episode at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And so we appreciate you for tuning in to The Grind today. And just remember, freedom ain't free, but you got the opportunity to get up every day and to create. And to definitely move forward in the freedom that absolutely each and every one of us deserve. So we'll see you back on Friday. Y'all be blessed. And we love you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, IG. We appreciate you.
It ain't acting right, y'all.
No, it ain't acting
So
right.
we love y'all. All right, we'll see y'all on the flip side, man. See y'all on Friday.
Absolutely.
We'll get this music working on Friday, all right?
Right.
God bless y'all, man. Y'all have a great day.
God bless you. Love you guys. Bye-bye, everybody.